Pegging is a sexual practice where a woman uses a strap-on dildo to anally penetrate her male partner, and it's become somewhat of a meme and caused a lot of debate over its implications on sexual orientation. So let's analyze what pegging is and what it means for anyone who participates in it. From a social perspective, pegging challenges traditional gender roles and the gender binary of sexual practices. Historically, societal norms have tightly defined masculinity and femininity, where heterosexual men are portrayed in a dominant role both in bed and in public, and women are portrayed in a submissive role. Pegging disrupts this narrative by allowing women to assume a penetrative role, implying that she's the dominant one in the situation. This act of role reversal can lead to misconceptions about the sexual orientation of the participants. But most sociologists agree that pegging is less about sexual orientation and more about exploring different dimensions of intimacy within a relationship. The act itself does not determine sexual orientation, but instead it's part of a broader spectrum of sexual activities available to heterosexual couples. By challenging traditional gender roles, pegging can promote a more nuanced understanding on gender sexuality. From a political perspective, pegging and other non-normative sexual practices are often politicized within the discourse of LGBTQ plus rights and gender equality. The act of pegging is usually conflated with discussions on bodily autonomy, sexual freedom, and the deconstruction of heteronormative standards. When viewed through a political lens, though, pegging is just a display of submission. It's not a display of homosexuality, and just because it goes against normative stereotypes of masculinity and femininity, it doesn't mean it's homoerotic in nature. From a biological perspective, engaging in pegging doesn't alter a person's sexual orientation. Homosexuality, as the name implies, refers to the act of liking someone of their own sex. A man can be into women but still want to get pegged. This doesn't mean that he's into men, since, conversely, a woman can want to perform brutal CBT on a man. This doesn't in any way remotely imply that she's into women. For the sake of simplicity, let's assume that all people in my examples are heterosexual cisgenders, as I'd rather not get into the trans debate here because it usually spirals into bad face semantics. Though I guess trolls in my comment section would be good for the algorithm, so maybe I should bait out reactions on more controversial topics in the future. Anyway, the human body is capable of experiencing pleasure through various means, regardless of sexual orientation. The prostate gland, often referred to as the male G-spot, can be stimulated anally, providing intense pleasure for some men. This biological response is independent of sexual orientation, meaning any man of any orientation can be a G-spot enjoyer. In conclusion, the question of is pegging gay is rooted in a misunderstanding of sexual orientation and gender roles. Pegging as a consensual sexual practice defies traditional notions of masculinity and femininity, propagating a broader and more inclusive understanding of human sexuality. Socially, pegging challenges gender norms but isn't inherently gay. That's it. Politically, it aligns with more progressive ideas of sexual relationships where the dynamics aren't of the man necessarily being the one in the position of power. And biologically, so long as the participants are doing it with a partner of the opposite sex, it isn't gay. Thank you for watching. If you agree with my opinion, glaze me in the comments. And if you disagree with my opinion, flame me in the comments. Just comment something so that I get into the algorithm.